Bordering the Mediterranean Sea, the Valencian Community is an autonomous community of Spain. We explored the two largest Valencian cities, Valencia and Alicante. From Bilbao, we flew to the second largest city of Alicante. Right on the Mediterranean, we opted to stay about 20 minutes east from downtown, 2 blocks from a beautiful beach. Playa San Juan is wide and clean with wonderful sand and a beautiful promenade. Most services along the beach were closed for the season, as most of the high-rise apartments are for beach vacationers, but it was still a wonderful place to walk. The nearest shopping center has a good supermarket and a variety of stores, which were mostly closed. It does host the occasional biker club. A half hour by tram, Plaza de los Luceros is the center of Alicante. Nearby, the Alicante Central Market wasn't very large, but there was a good selection of meats and some fish, fruit, and veg. 15 minutes by tram up the Costa Blanca, the seaside resort town of El Campello was mostly shut down. But there is a 16th century watchtower built as a lookout for North African pirates. Just down from the tower, the islet of the Baths has ruins of Roman baths, as well as artifacts back to the earlier Iberian and prehistoric periods. The 17th century Monastery of the Holy Face is an Alicante landmark, home to the Veil of Veronica. Saint Veronica is supposed to have wiped the blood and sweat from Jesus' face as he was carrying his cross through the streets of Jerusalem. The cloth, revered as a holy relic, is said to have the permanent image of his face. The actual veil is far away from viewers, but its image is displayed around the area. The territory that's now the Valencian Community was part of Al Andalus, Moorish Iberia, from the years 711 to 1296. The most prominent landmark in Alicante is the Santa Barbara Castle. Built by the Moors 166 meters above the sea, it was renamed when the area was reconquered by the forces of the Christian king James II of Aragon on the feast day of St. Barbara. Today, it's a free museum, accessible by foot or car. The former governor's house holds a small collection of artifacts found on the site, from the Neolithic, Iberian, Roman, Islamic, and medieval Christian periods, including this mosaic made from pottery shards of different eras. And, of course, the view of the city and sea from the walls is unmatched. From Alicante, we took a train 2 hours north to Valencia, the largest city and homonymous capital of the Valencian Community. With 800,000 inhabitants, it's the third largest city in Spain, after Madrid and Barcelona. The city core is bounded by 2 branches of the Turia River. The north branch was the natural course, drained and converted to a park after a major flood in 1957. The south branch is where the Turia was rerouted. Our flat was a 5-minute walk to the river park with a patio that provided some nice sky views. We were also close to a takeout restaurant with wonderful paella and other local dishes. We've always associated Valencia with oranges. While the Valencia orange is actually an American hybrid, Valencia does produce fantastic oranges, and the streets are lined with decorative trees, though the fruit isn't edible. The grocery shopping in Valencia was fantastic. A massive Carrefour was only a 15-minute walk away, and the largest Asian grocery we've seen in 6 months was 20 minutes by mass transit. But the Mercado Central, also 20 minutes away by transit, was phenomenal. Completed in 1928, the gorgeous 8,000 square meter Art Nouveau building is not much smaller than the Bilbao Central Market, once the largest in Europe at 10,000 square meters. Unlike Bilbao, however, Valencia is still packed with vendors and customers. The selection was fantastic, though seafood prices were too high. Most impressive was the pork selection, especially the rows of cured legs of jamon. Even in the Carrefour, the Spanish love of jamon cannot be overstated. Cochinita asado, roast suckling pig, is a classic Spanish and Filipino dish. One of Avic's favorite foods, we found a wonderful traditional restaurant in Valencia that served it. The decor only heightened our enjoyment of the meal, including the famous and elusive pig. A major hub in Old Town Valencia and our regular metro destination is the North train station. Next to it is the Bull Ring, which hosts regular weekend events, as bullfighting is still a popular Spanish tradition. A short walk away, the Plaza del Ayuntamiento is the central square in Old Town. Christmas decorations were just being set up when we were there, though there were some scattered around. The nearby Columbus Market, once the central market before the larger current one was built, is now a gastro market. Populated with many gastropubs, the Christmas decor was on full display here. The 14th century Cathedral of Our Lady of Valencia sits in the oldest part of the city. Normally, the adjacent Queen's Plaza would be decorated for Christmas, but it was fully under renovation when we were there. The 94-meter bell tower is the tallest historic structure in the city, and for a few euro, you can climb the 207 steps to the top. Valencia was founded in 138 BCE, and the cathedral is in the center of the Roman colony of Valentia. Visigoths built the first church on the site in the 6th century CE, which became a mosque 100 years later in the Andalusian period. The history of modern Valencia began with the 13th century Christian reconquest. Valencians have their own culture and language, distinct from Castilians in Madrid. The Valencian language is similar to Catalan, spoken in Barcelona, and doesn't have the Castellan lisp. To access the main part of the cathedral, you need to play red light, green light to descend the narrow stairs. Inside, past the cathedral nave, the octagonal dome lights the chancel around the high altar, illuminating the paintings that were hidden for decades before being cleaned in the 19th century. Behind and to the right of the altar, the left arm of St. Vincent of Saragossa is displayed as a holy relic. The patron saint of Valencia, he was martyred in the early 4th century during the Diocletianic persecution. Back at the entrance, off to the right side, a separate chapel has a beautifully ornate ceiling and houses a relic thought to be the Holy Grail used by Jesus during the Last Supper. The ornate base was added to display the original dark red agate cup that's been dated to between the 4th century BCE and 1st century CE. With the simple cup itself, one could say,
"That's the cup of a carpenter."
Valencia is fantastic for cycling. There are rental stations all over and dedicated bike lanes that crisscross the city. There are even paid parking spots for your own bike. Plus, the entire river park is bikeable, though all the rental stations are up above on the main streets. The beautiful stone 16th century Puente del Real crosses over the park. And the Puente de la Exposición was designed by architect Santiago Calatrava, who also designed the Zubizuri in Bilbao. The acoustics underneath are entertaining, amplifying sounds from one end to the other and forming an echo in the middle. It's also easy to bike to the beach, passing through some nice parks and some very local streets. The beach itself is amazingly wide, with a beautiful promenade. Our overall highlight for Valencia was the iconic City of Arts and Sciences. Designed mostly by Santiago Calatrava, a Valencian native, it's considered one of 12 Spanish national treasures, alongside such world-renowned sites as the Cathedral of Córdoba, Alhambra in Granada, Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, La Concha Beach in San Sebastián, and the Guggenheim Museum Bilbao. The complex comprises 6 main buildings: the Queen Sofia Palace of the Arts, an opera house and performing arts center, the hemispheric IMAX cinema and laser planetarium, the Agora concert and sporting venue, the Umbracla Promenade and Botanic Garden. The 5th building is the Prince Philip Museum of the Sciences, which has a cool outside exhibit with a moon globe and various solar timepieces. Inside, the architecture was beautiful. Most of the 3 levels of exhibits were geared towards kids, which is awesome, but not really what we were interested in. But upstairs, the space exhibits with model Mars rovers, the Hubble telescope, and a scale model of the ISS were sweet. For us, the final structure was the Pièce de Résistance, the oceanographic park designed by architect Felice Candela. With 15 different sections, including the largest marine aquarium in Europe, it's the most complete oceanographic park we've ever seen. And we were lucky enough to see it with our son and his girlfriend, who flew down from Bilbao for a few days. The park showcases different aquatic environments and indigenous wildlife. Indoor sections all had capacity indicators, very useful during these COVID times. The Arctic exhibit had puffins, penguins, and beluga whales. The dolphin show was pretty entertaining. The jellyfish had a surprisingly peaceful and delicate beauty. And we could have watched the fish and other sea life swimming around in tanks and aquariums all day.